Anxious attachment does not always look like chasing. Sometimes it looks calm, too calm. It looks like saying, "No worries," while your chest is tight. It looks like waiting to reply so you do not seem too available even though your body has already checked your phone 12 times. It looks like pretending the distance does not bother you because you are terrified that needing clarity will make them pull away even more. It looks like smiling through confusion, agreeing to something that hurts, and acting easygoing when nothing inside you feels easy. That is why this pattern is so exhausting. You are not only feeling the anxiety, you are managing the appearance of not having it. You are performing calmness so the other person does not see the panic underneath. The brutal truth is this: fake calm is not the same as secure attachment. Sometimes, fake calm is just fear wearing a peaceful face. It is the nervous system saying, "Do not show too much. Do not ask too directly. Do not react too fast. Do not let them see how much this matters." If they see the real panic, they may decide you are too much and leave. That is the hidden cost of anxious attachment. It does not only make you afraid of losing someone, it makes you afraid of being seen while you are afraid. So you try to become the version of yourself that seems safest to love. Chill, patient, understanding, low maintenance, unbothered. But underneath that performance, your body is still scanning for danger. Your mind is still replaying every message. Your stomach is still dropping when their tone changes. Your breathing is still shallow when they go quiet. You may look calm from the outside, but inside, your nervous system is reacting as if the relationship is about to disappear. If this kind of clarity helps your nervous system settle, subscribe. PsychBond is a daily decoder for psychology, relationships, and avoidant and anxious attachment patterns, so you stop guessing. Now, let us talk about why this happens, because this is not just people-pleasing. It is not just trying to look mature. It is not just wanting to seem secure. It is a survival response. Somewhere along the way, the anxious nervous system learned that visible need can cost connection. Maybe when you needed reassurance, someone became irritated. Maybe when you asked what was wrong, someone withdrew. Maybe when you cried, they got cold. Maybe when you told the truth, they called you dramatic. Maybe when you wanted consistency, they made you feel demanding. So your body learned a painful rule. If I show how much I need, I might lose the person I need. That is where the performance begins. The anxious person does not fake calm because they feel calm. They fake calm because the real feeling feels dangerous to show. The outside says, "It is fine." The inside says, "Please do not leave." The outside says, "Take your time." The inside says, "Every minute of silence feels like proof that I am being dropped." The outside says, "I understand." The inside says, "I am terrified that if I need more, you will decide I am not worth the effort." This is the split. The person is not being fake in a manipulative way. They are splitting themselves in two, so the relationship does not collapse. One part feels the panic, the other part performs the version of calm that might keep the connection alive. And this is why it is so tiring. You are doing two emotional jobs at once, trying to survive the threat inside your body and trying to make sure the other person never feels blamed for creating it. You monitor your own reaction before you even express it. You edit your texts. You soften your questions. You say less than you mean, and you wait longer than you want. You pretend to be okay with uncertainty because you do not want to pressure them. But your body knows the truth. Your body knows when you are swallowing a question. Your body knows when your "no worries" is a lie. Your body knows when your calm voice is not peace. It is restraint. That is why performing calmness does not actually soothe anxious attachment. It might delay a conflict. It might stop the other person from pulling away in that moment. It may make you look easier to be with. But inside, the anxiety keeps building because nothing real has been addressed. You have not created safety. You have only hidden the alarm. One of the biggest reasons anxious people fake being calm is because they confuse being secure with being unaffected. They think secure people do not need reassurance. They think secure people never panic, never check their phone, and never feel hurt by a sudden shift. So they try to imitate that version of security. They act like distance does not bother them. They act like vague answers are acceptable. They act like they do not care whether the plan happens. They act like they are fine with less than they actually need. But that is not secure attachment. That is emotional acting. Real security is not pretending nothing affects you. Real security is being able to notice what affects you without abandoning yourself. An anxious person often does not believe they have that option. They think there are only two choices: explode or disappear. Be too much or be nothing. Ask desperately or act like they do not need anything at all. Fake calm becomes the middle costume. It feels safer than panic and less risky than honesty. But it is still not truth. It is a carefully managed version of yourself designed to protect the relationship from your actual nervous system. This is how it slowly turns into resentment. You keep saying yes when you mean no. You keep acting patient when you feel hurt. You keep acting cool when you feel confused. You keep acting fine when your body is begging for clarity. And then, you feel angry that they did not notice. But how could they fully notice if you have been trained to hide the evidence? This is one of the saddest parts of anxious attachment. You can become so good at seeming okay that people start believing you require less than you actually do. You train them with your performance. You teach them that delays are fine, vagueness is fine, inconsistency is fine, emotional distance is fine. Not because you truly believe it is fine, but because you are scared that saying otherwise will make them leave. Then the relationship becomes built around a false version of your tolerance. They think you are easy with less. You are actually suffering with less. They think you are calm. You are actually bracing. They think you do not need much. You actually learned to hide the need before it can be rejected. Should I act normal? Should I pretend I did not notice the change? Should I mirror their energy? Should I make myself busy? Should I post something so they think I am fine? Should I reply later so I do not look too available? The body is not calm. It is strategizing. That is the difference. Calmness feels settled. Performing calmness feels calculated. Calmness gives you more access to yourself. Performing calmness makes you manage yourself like a public image. The anxious nervous system may call this maturity, but underneath, it is often fear of exposure. You are afraid that if the real you shows up, the one who needs clarity, the one who feels hurt, the one who wants a straight answer, the relationship will not survive it. So you send the approved version instead. The approved version says, I totally understand. The real version says, this hurts, and I do not know where I stand. The approved version says, no rush. The real version says, waiting without clarity is making my body feel unsafe. The approved version says, I am okay either way. The real version says, I am trying not to need you because needing you feels dangerous. That is why this topic matters. The performance is not random. It is the nervous system trying to stay attached without appearing attached. It is the body trying to receive love while hiding the cost of uncertainty. It is the anxious person trying to be chosen by seeming easier to choose. This gets especially intense with avoidant partners. Avoidant distance teaches the anxious nervous system that visible need can trigger withdrawal. If the other person gets colder when you ask for reassurance, your body learns quickly. Do not ask like that again. If they call you intense when you bring up your feelings, your body remembers. If they need space every time you need closeness, your body starts editing the closeness before it leaves your mouth. So you become calmer on the surface and more activated underneath. You might think you are becoming healthier because you are reacting less. But sometimes you are not reacting less because you feel safer. Sometimes you are reacting less because you have learned that reacting costs too much. That is a vital distinction. Regulation says, I can feel this and still speak clearly. Suppression says, I cannot show this because the connection might punish me. Performing calmness is often suppression dressed up as growth. It can look impressive. It can look like you are finally detached. But inside, the body has not released the fear. It has only learned to keep the fear quiet enough not to disturb the other person. That is why fake calm often breaks suddenly. You hold it together for days or weeks. You act understanding. You stay measured. You do not ask the question. You give space. You tell yourself you are being secure. Then, one small thing happens. A late reply. A canceled plan. A flat tone. A social media clue. A tiny sign that the connection may be slipping. And suddenly, the whole performance collapses. You send the long message. You ask everything at once. You say you cannot do this anymore. You cry, panic, accuse, apologize, explain, and then regret it. And afterward you think, why did I ruin it? But the explosion was not created by that one moment. It was created by everything you swallowed before it. Fake calm has a limit. The nervous system can only hold an alarm silently for so long before it demands to be heard. This is why anxious attachment swings between over-control and emotional flooding. You perform calmness until you cannot anymore. Then, everything you tried not to say comes out with the force of all the days you stayed quiet. This is not because you are unstable. It is because the body cannot keep pretending danger is peace. The more you hide the panic, the more pressure builds behind the calm face. This is also why the other person may feel blindsided. They may ask, where is this coming from? And that question can make you feel even more misunderstood, because to you, it has been building the whole time. They saw the calm performance. They did not see the inner bargaining, the tight chest, the mental rehearsals, the deleted messages, or the quiet grief of pretending to be okay. So when the truth finally comes out, it looks sudden to them, but overdue to you. That gap becomes another wound. You feel unseen because they did not notice what you were hiding. They feel attacked because they did not know how much was hidden. This is how performing calmness can actually damage intimacy. It prevents the other person from meeting the real issue early enough. It replaces honest signals with edited signals. It makes the relationship easier in the short term, but much more confusing in the long term. Another reason anxious people fake calm is because they fear being compared to the cool version of love. The culture around dating often rewards emotional distance. Be chill. Do not care too much. Do not text too fast. Do not ask where things are going. Do not seem attached. Let them come to you. Act like you have options. Stay mysterious. For someone with anxious attachment, this advice becomes another costume. Instead of helping you feel secure, it teaches you to hide every normal sign of wanting. So you start performing the person you think is more lovable, the one who never asks, the one who never needs reassurance, the one who always understands, the one who does not make anyone feel responsible. But a relationship that only works when you act like you need nothing is not a safe relationship. It is a stage. You are not being loved in your full humanity. You are being rewarded for staying within the emotional limit the other person can tolerate. That is why fake calm feels like self-betrayal. You may get the contact you wanted, but you lose honesty with yourself. You may keep the person around, but only by hiding the very pain their inconsistency creates. You may look powerful on the outside, but internally you feel small, because you know the calm is not freedom. It is a negotiation. You are constantly asking yourself the most heartbreaking question: how little can I need and still call this love? You keep trying to become less intense, less affected, less demanding, and less honest. For a while, it can seem like it works. They stay. They relax. They come closer when you are not asking. But what they are coming closer to is not the whole you. They are coming closer to the version of you that does not require them to face the impact of their behavior. That is not real safety. That is a temporary arrangement where your nervous system pays the price. Your body pays for every sentence you swallow. It pays with tension, rumination, shallow sleep, and a nervous stomach. It pays with that strange heaviness you feel after saying, "I am fine," when you know you are not. This is why the nervous system lens matters. Anxious attachment is not just thoughts. It is the body trying to detect whether the bond is safe. When the bond feels uncertain, the body prepares for loss. Fake calm often becomes a freeze and please response. You freeze the real reaction, and you please the other person with the more acceptable one. You do not move toward the truth because the truth feels risky, and you do not move away because losing them feels unbearable. So you stay in the middle, smiling while an alarm runs underneath. That state is exhausting because the body is using energy to hide what it is also trying to survive. The face says calm, but the muscles say threat. The voice says, "Okay," but the stomach says danger. The message says, "No pressure," but the nervous system says, "Please answer." This split can make you feel disconnected from yourself. You stop knowing what you actually want because you are so focused on what is safe to want. You start asking, "Am I okay with this, or am I just afraid to say I am not? Do I really feel calm, or am I performing calmness because panic would cost me too much? Do I want to give space, or am I giving space because needing closeness feels humiliating?" Those questions are not weakness. They are the beginning of seeing the performance clearly. The painful truth is that anxious attachment often teaches you to hide your fear from the person whose behavior is activating it. That does not mean the other person is responsible for fixing your entire nervous system. But it does mean that a relationship has to have enough honesty for both nervous systems to exist in the room. If you have to hide every reaction to keep someone close, you are not becoming secure. You are becoming more alone with better manners. Fake calm can look like peace from the outside, but inside, it is loneliness with a soft voice. It is abandonment happening in slow motion, except this time, you are the one abandoning yourself first, so the other person does not beat you to it. That is why it hurts so deeply. You are not just afraid they will leave. You are leaving parts of yourself before they even get the chance. You leave the part that needs clarity. You leave the part that feels disappointed. You leave the part that wants to say, "This does not feel okay." You leave the part that wants more consistency. And then you wonder why the relationship feels empty even when they are still there. It feels empty because the real you is not fully in it. The calm performer is there. The careful texter is there. The understanding version is managed and present, but the honest body, the one that knows what hurts, has been told to wait outside. This is why people with anxious attachment feel so drained after acting calm. The performance requires constant self-monitoring. You listen to their tone, then yours. You notice their delay, then your reaction to the delay. You feel hurt, then you judge yourself for feeling hurt. You want to ask, then you rehearse the ask in a way that does not sound like asking. You become both the wounded person and the public relations manager for the wound. That is not calm. That is labor. Emotional labor, nervous system labor, identity labor. You are trying to maintain the image of someone who is fine while carrying the body of someone who is not. Over time, this creates bitterness, not because you are bad, but because a human being cannot keep denying their own emotional reality without some part of them starting to ache. That ache may come out as sarcasm, sudden anger, shutting down, testing, or resentment. You start thinking, why do I always have to be the one who understands? Why do I have to act calm so they do not feel pressured? Why does their need for space get honored while my need for clarity is treated like a threat? That resentment is information. It is the part of you that knows the performance is costing too much. There is also a hidden pride inside performing calmness. Anxious people often shame themselves for needing, so they feel proud when they manage not to show it. They think, I did not text. I did not ask. I acted calm. I gave space. I was good. But listen to that word, good. In this context, good often means acceptable to the person you are afraid of losing. It means you did not disturb the connection. It means you did not reveal the alarm. It means you stayed lovable by staying controlled. That is not the same as feeling safe. This is why the calm performance becomes addictive. Every time you suppress the need and the person stays, your brain learns. Hiding works. Every time you act unbothered and they come closer, your brain learns. Needing less gets rewarded. Every time you ask nothing and receive warmth, your body learns. Silence keeps love. But the need always returns because the relationship still has not become safe. so you suppress again. The cycle repeats. Perform calmness, receive temporary closeness, feel unseen, panic underneath, and eventually break. This is the loop. It is hard to stop because the performance gets you just enough contact to keep hoping, but never enough safety to let your body rest. Anxious attachment becomes a private life. People around you do not know how intense it is because you look functional. You go to work, you answer messages, you laugh, you say you are fine. But inside, one unclear relationship can occupy your entire nervous system. You are not only thinking about the person, you are thinking about how to appear like you are not thinking about them. That second layer, the performance, is what drains you. This video is not really about texting or acting cool. It is about the fear that your real emotional experience is too much for love to survive. Anxious attachment says, if I show the full truth, I will be abandoned. So you offer a filtered version of yourself. But love that requires a filter will never fully calm your body. It may calm the situation. It may keep the other person comfortable. It may prevent a fight. But it will not give you that deep internal exhale, because the body knows the deal. I am only safe here when I hide. So what is the small, practical truth? You do not have to express every anxious thought the moment it appears. Not every alarm needs to become a message. Not every fear is a fact. But you also cannot heal anxious attachment by pretending the alarm is not there. The goal is not to perform calmness better. The goal is to build enough honesty that calm becomes real. Real calm sounds different. Real calm can say, I am feeling activated, and I need a moment before I respond. Real calm can say, I noticed this affected me, and I want to understand it. Real calm can say, I can give space, but I cannot keep pretending uncertainty does not hurt me. Real calm does not beg. It does not explode. It also does not disappear inside the other person's comfort. It lets the truth exist without handing the truth over like a weapon. Performing calmness is about being accepted. Real calm is about staying connected to yourself, whether someone accepts the truth or not. That is where the shift happens. You stop asking, how do I look calm enough for them to stay? You start asking, can this connection hold the truth of me without making me act like I need nothing? Because if the answer is no, your nervous system already knows. It knows in the tight chest. It knows in the fake, no worries. It knows in the message you rewrite 10 times. It knows in the way you feel proud of not asking, then sad that nobody noticed you needed something. You are not crazy for feeling the split. You are noticing the difference between peace and performance. Peace makes you more yourself. Performance makes you more acceptable. And a relationship that only rewards the acceptable version of you will keep your body in panic, no matter how calm your face becomes. Welcome to PsychBond. You're safe here.